Hey, thanks for joining us on the Recovery Vow Podcast. Today, I sit with Danette and Michael, and we talk about both of their stories. Now, both of them and this couple are in recovery, and they're celebrating 10 years. But we really hone in on Danette's story and how she got to the point where she wrote the book, Kingdom Rehab Her. Michael talks a little bit, and he gives us a peek inside of his testimony, but we really dive into their marriage, what that life was like in the addiction, and talk about that. But then we really highlight what recovery was about. So I want you to enjoy this as I have the conversation with them. We'll put a link in the description on how you can connect with them. And if you aren't already subscribed to us on YouTube, you can watch this episode and all of our past episodes on our YouTube channel. If you aren't following us on Facebook or Instagram, you can do so just by going to Recovery Vow. We're even on TikTok for you younger folks. If you would like direct access to me, you can email me at recoveryvow@gmail.com. Enjoy this episode. Welcome to the Recovery Vow Podcast. I'm your host, Eric. Today on the episode, I'm sitting with some new friends, Danette and Michael, who are here local to Dallas. And we're going to talk about both of their recoveries. And as we dig in, I want to open up my book, Marriage After Addiction, Take Back Your Life Together. And one of the chapters that they were just recently reading was You Can Be the One, which is chapter 5. Now, again, this book is written as a workbook for the spouse that is the supporting spouse or the spouse that is in recovery. Each one of you guys should have a copy of the book, because at the end of every chapter, there are questions that you would answer. Now, people have asked, what does that mean? You can be the one. Well, when I went through treatment, I remember being in the room and they said, there's 100 of you in this room, only 10% of you would make it. And I knew from that moment going forward, I didn't want to not make it. And when I say make it, I mean like actually being alive, right. And being in sobriety. So it was important to me to hear that, remember that. But what does that mean to you guys? Like when you have read through that or kind of lived out these last 10 years, how important is it for you to know that you have to remember that you have to be the one, the 10%?
Right. That was a fact that I had not learned. They didn't tell me that in treatment, but learning it and reading it in your book was just like, wow, okay, I love it. My feeling in treatment was I didn't want to die from this. And I felt myself dying before I made the choice to find a treatment center and go. The internal ache that was happening, I just felt my internals, not just my liver, but other areas of my body just like aching. And that scared me. And so making that choice, it has to be a choice that comes from your heart, not your head. It's not always willpower. I tried the willpower thing. For years, it was probably a 4 to 5 year cycle of not drinking, then drinking, not drinking. I'd have a year sobriety, then I'd have 3 months sobriety, and it was a roller coaster. But towards the end of my drinking career is what I call it, that became really bad.
Was drinking your main thing?
In my single days, it was drugs and alcohol.
Okay.
After having our daughter, and I was able to stop while pregnant. After having our daughter, then it was the wine at home at night, or it became wine throughout the day. It became more alcohol that I wasn't able to control anymore. And so, working through that in our relationship, or going back to going into treatment, that's where I learned, like, I don't want to die from this. I kind of was similar to you, that it was a shift in my spirit, a shift in my mind, that it was now a goal. Like, I didn't want to drink. I didn't quite know how the whole process worked of being in recovery yet. I tried it with other, 12-step programs, but I hadn't really put my heart into it. And so being in treatment, I specifically remember being on the phone with him, just saying, I don't want to die from this. There was one day I went back, we would have phone hours at like 5:30 in the afternoon, in the evening after we did our programming through the day. And I just remember that saying specifically. And in my mind, I don't know if that equates to me being the one. But now, after coming up on 10 years of sobriety in this latter part of this sobriety journey, I'm on mission to be the one, and it's changed the trajectory of our child, I believe. And I want to continue that.
Yeah. You coming up on 10 years is huge.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's a huge, huge deal. 1 day is huge.
Mm-hmm.
5 years is huge. And that 10-year mark is huge. One thing you just said, though, that I heard that stuck out was you said the change of your heart. So it sounds like you maybe have had attempted sobriety a couple of times, and it was at this moment your heart had to change, and it wasn't maybe in your head. It was a feeling here that you had to kind of let process.
Yes.
Did you know at that point this was I was going to make this the moment that last time in treatment?
I only went to treatment once.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, so you tried getting sober on your own before?
Like with other programs, church programs, or just going to 12-step meetings, trying it on my own. And it's called white knuckling. It's not true heart shifting change. It was just doing it because of, let's say, in a marriage, you get ultimatums.
Right.
If you don't stop drinking, I'm going to this, or, stop any of all that behavior. So,
and that's why I like having, podcasts and your book, my book, all these different ways for people to know that, okay, I can try it this way, or I have these resources and these tools I can use now, because not everybody's going to get it from just going through a 12-step program or just walking through the church doors when they're open. Some people do, and that's fantastic if you do. But, it's just like gyms and churches. You try different gyms until you find the one that works for you. Just like churches, you try different churches till you find the one that you connect with. And I'm not selling that to anyone. I'm just saying that that's where you have to try to find different ways of recovery. And if you can stay sober while you're looking for that perfect way, tough.
Yes.
But once you get it, it's I've said this before, it's easy to get sober. It's hard to stay sober.
Yes.
So.
Yes. It's so many thoughts are running through my head right now, but the one thing that keeps resonating is you don't know what you don't know until you know it.
Right.
And I didn't know what I didn't know until I went to treatment. There are some people, yes, including in my conversations these days, that don't or didn't go to treatment, but yet they were able to stay sober and work a program. So it is whatever path works, just to get to that sobriety piece and then stay long-term with it because of what the body's processing, just because of not just addiction, but the sugar, all the things that you're trying to work out of your system. It's a layered event in the beginning of trying to get sober. The cravings, the angst, or what do you reach for instead of what habits do you start to create for yourself?
I really did start reaching for candy after that.
Yeah.
What it is, I did.
Right.
So if I want you to tell a story, and I want you to the viewers and the listeners of this podcast, if they're driving in their car, if they're watching online, I want you to tell a story that we could be with you or right beside you as you tell this story. But take us back what 10 years looked like, 10 years ago looked like for you and Michael, from your point of view, and then we're going to let Michael.
Yes. Well, I would say it was a weekend before I went to treatment. Our daughter turned 8. And we had a little thing for every birthday. It would either be a party one year where gifts and friends come over, and then the next year we'd go on some kind of a trip to build memories to celebrate a birthday. And so this year was a weekend trip. So we went down to an area of Texas, hill country, and stayed in a hotel that had a lazy river, kind of a resort, and just made it it was a fun hotel for kids. And so that weekend we drove down. It was the height of my addiction. And that's where I would go and hide and drink, wherever I could make it happen.
What did height look like?
Running to the bar while they were maybe in the room getting ready for a pool or whatever, and ordering a drink and downing it before and leaving the empty glass at the bar, not walking around with it. I did that probably 6 times on a Saturday. It is that the part of that addiction that takes over, you'll do whatever you have to do to get your fix, for lack of better
And what
word.
makes it feel right in your head is because nobody else got to see the glass.
Yeah.
You didn't have to bring it to the pool with you.
No.
You got what you wanted, you got what you needed, and you were able to, in your mind, leave it, and it's over.
Right. The obsession that takes over, but then also the lying, right? How many drinks have you had? Oh, no, I haven't had any. And that weekend, as it progressed, obviously you're at a pool, you're hanging out with the lazy river and spending time with your family. I was able to drink all day. And that evening, it was worse because I didn't stop drinking. So I was done, let's just say, way over my limit of what alcohol I should have had that day. And so we went to dinner. We got, ready afterwards. We went to dinner, and the hotel had a little band in the lobby, and I wanted to stay. And like when you're living that lifestyle, you don't want the party to stop. So I was always in that mode of, okay, y'all go to the room. I'll be up in a minute. And that evening proceeded to, in a way, I haven't really shared this much, but
are you okay sharing it?
Yes, I'm fine. I just am like feeling the flutter in my heart, right? But Michael had taken our daughter up to the room, and I was downstairs. And at the time, I did smoke cigarettes. That kind of was hand in hand, drinking and smoking. And I would go and bum cigarettes from whomever. And I was sitting outside on a patio with people I didn't know, and just like having a great time. And all of a sudden security comes down looking for me. I didn't even know what time it was. Wasn't paying attention to that. And they were like, ma'am, your husband is looking for you, but he didn't want to leave our daughter in the room by herself. And she was asleep. So security, I refused security. And I don't remember exactly if you ended up coming down, but I remember just fighting it. And then the next morning, I woke up and I was in the hotel room in bed. And so I was like, oh, okay, nothing bad happened. I made it to the bed, right? That's how you wake up. You think of...
But you don't remember how you got there?
I don't remember how I got there. And I've shared this recently, that when you are so heavy into your drinking, you wake up the next morning, and before your feet touch the ground, you try to remember all the things you did the night before. Did I offend somebody? Did I fall? Did I hurt myself? Am I achy? Did we fight? You try to replay it before you get up and face the world that day. And I couldn't remember all those details yet. So I got up. They weren't in the room. And so I went down to meet them for breakfast, and he was so mad. And at that moment, it was you've got to go to treatment. And I'm like, you can't make me.
Yeah.
The attitude. And that drive home, I think we drove home that day on a Sunday. It was me and God.
Really?
I was just...
Were you a blackout drinker?
Yes.
Leading up to that?
Fall down, blackout.
Yeah, I used to black out. And I remember one of the first times I called for help, I was blacking out. I was working in Ketchikan, Alaska. Random. And I had started blackout drinking. But I was so stupid. I remember calling an AA number, and I knew what AA was. I'm like, I don't need you. I just need you to tell me, is it the brown liquor that's making me black out? Should I switch to vodka because it's clear? And maybe, and you're like, no, you're stupid. It's called alcohol poisoning, and that's why you're blacking out. The alcohol is taking over your mind and your body, and you don't remember anything. So I hung up and just kept doing. I remember switching to
you were just bored at the moment, wanted to talk to somebody.
Well, I just wanted to try to figure out why I couldn't remember what was happening, but I didn't think it had anything to do with me. I thought it had everything to do with what I was drinking.
Right.
Stupid.
Right.
But yeah, okay. So how did that car ride go? Michael, do you remember the weekend she's talking about?
Absolutely.
The car ride was quiet. Yeah. Right. And that is where I felt it in my spirit. I had to do something. And it wasn't a ultimatum anymore.
That's what I was about to ask. Did he give you like an ultimatum or the B word?
That was on the table still, right? But I've been a believer. I was raised in the church. I was definitely backsliding at that time. So walking out my faith. So my communication, and I've always known that I talk to God. Like, my thoughts aren't just my thoughts. They're my higher power, whatever you want to call it, my Lord. And so I just felt it, heard it. Obviously, I was hungover, right? So it was a moment that I just made the decision to start researching treatment centers.
You did that as soon as you got home?
I couldn't do it on my own. Yes, I did. I took a week. calling the different treatment centers. And that is humbling in itself because you have to tell your story on repeat to different treatment centers as you're doing an intake call. And then they're, verifying your insurance to see what you might owe. And pricing of treatment is not
it's not
inexpensive.
Cheap. It's $1,000 a day without insurance. Is it roughly an estimate?
Yeah, on a low end.
On a low end.
And so
Which stinks. Yes. When people come and they want help, and the first two questions you have to ask is, well, do you want it? And by the way, do you have any insurance?
Right.
Right. Because it's almost like you're going to get either the Kmart, Walmart branded recovery, or you can get, the Publix or Next Level. And I'm trying to use that for people to understand that there's ways to get recovery even when you don't think you can afford it.
Yes.
And you have to do something, but maybe that's the only option you've got.
Mm-hmm. I'm learning that now, just when I'm helping other women find a place, or if they relapse and they need to go somewhere. There is a place here in Dallas, actually, that is free for women. And that's amazing. But that's not, every city doesn't have that.
No.
And insurance helps, right? Mm-hmm. And so I called around all over the U.S. I didn't care where it was. I'd take a flight. Doesn't matter. And the range of 27,000 to 50,000, I don't remember what the highest one was, but I was like, what? Wow, I can't do that to my family. And then finally got a hold of one in actually Hunt, Texas, La Hacienda, and my insurance, when they called me back, they were like, it's $6,000. And I'm like, done. Yep. We can put that on a card. Yep. Yep. I think we did put it on a credit card. And I went to treatment, and I'm the kind of person that it has to come from me. I don't want other people to do it for me. Mm-hmm. So I booked my flight, and all I said to him was, let's get our daughter to school and then take me to the airport, drop me off. And that's what I did. I arranged transportation from San Antonio Airport to go into Hunt, Texas, and check myself in all by my big girl self.
How old was baby girl at the time?
8.
Mm-hmm. So for people that do have children that's going to listen to your story, what kind of a conversation did you have with her?
It's a hard one. Yeah. I've spoken to her all her life after that in big girl language. At that moment, it's to her age, right? She was 8, and I basically said, Mommy needs to go to the hospital. I'll be gone for a little while. And I can't remember exactly, but I do remember
And I'm sorry, I didn't mean to upset you, but...
No, it's just, tug at your heart when you talk about your children in this. And other people that are listening, that is the one thing I did fight even years before. I'm like, who's going to watch our daughter? You work all the time. Mm-hmm. And he is an entrepreneur and is in the office a lot. So that was my fight back in the beginning of, you can't do this. So when she was 5 or 6, so when she became a little older and she was in school all day, in my mind, I thought, okay, he can manage that, getting her to school and picking her up. And that was kind of the balance in my mind of, okay, it'll work.
Yeah.
It'll work for our schedule, for his schedule. And the blessing is that he's an entrepreneur and he can come and go from the office as he needs. And I believe she went to his office after school every day, and, he made it work.
Yeah. Us dads can be resilient too.
Mm-hmm.
Make it work.
Mm-hmm.
But I had to ask, that because, sometimes when people tell their story, they skim over things that they know may bring up something that gets them upset. I didn't want to upset you, but I think it's important for people to hear. You have to have a conversation with your kids. And when the time is right, I don't share every gory detail of my past with the boys, but I let them know because I want to be transparent with them, and I want them to know the things I did from decisions I made because of the alcohol or the drugs I had in my system.
Yes.
And I just don't want that for them. But still, it's free will. That I'm just kind of hopefully preparing them to know.
Awareness is key. Yeah. Awareness is key. And, last year I celebrated my 9th year of sobriety. And if you do the math, it's been sober over half her life. Now it's over half her life, but I was sober for half her life. And that really hit me wow. And she's about to turn 18 and she doesn't drink She's seen our family go through this, but also having those real conversations as she got older. I did share more of my story of my single days or what I've experienced with, or be careful about this, you might want to look out for that. Like in just interacting with her friends as teenagers, and that's where we usually begin our drinking career, is in high school when we're trying to get away from it, or, going to parties, and that's where it starts. And so being that she's gone through that, she's going into her senior year of high school actually tomorrow. And, it's just her decision. And I'm so grateful. It's changed the trajectory of her life because we were able to stop drinking at that time in her life. So whether she chooses to drink in the future, and I've said to her, like free will, like you talk about, maybe we wait till you're 21, but obviously college, try, but be aware.
Mm-hmm.
It could get out of hand.
Yeah. Michael, how you doing over there, bud?
Great. I was just thinking, there are kids in high school that drink, and there are those who don't. She's got a friend group that doesn't drink, and she really enjoys that. And she remembers, the problem years and then the years after that and she has talked to me about the difference and how it's so much better now. And so she may never decide to drink. You never know, right? There are some people who live their whole lives and don't try it, right?
Yeah. I don't know of any of them, but there are some.
There are some.
Do you remember the weekend she's talking about? And I know that you said you were like a year ahead, or you are close to the same on the sobriety years.
I'm a month ahead.
A month ahead. You're a month ahead. Okay.
Right.
So the weekend that she's talking about from Thanksgiving, how well do you remember that weekend?
Yeah, it's as if it was yesterday, right? It was intense, but it was, the same type of struggle that we went through with, drinking until she passed out type thing. But this one was a little bit different because it was twice that I had to call security to find you.
Yeah.
One around midnight, and then one about 2 a.m. because you came back up to the room, and then I woke up again and you were gone again.
Oh, I don't remember that at all. That's
done
the
it before.
addiction. Yeah.
I've had people bring me
blackout.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And just didn't know.
Right. And the second time they were like, we've already checked. And so I actually left the room and Tesla was sleeping. And so I found you with just a group of people partying. And so
I've been there for Michael, because you seem like you can hold it together until it's 2:00 in the morning and you need to come to the room.
Well, the thing is too, is we did drink and party together in the years prior. So we're both people. We enjoy hanging out with people and having fun and conversing. And we would go out to dinners and go to the bars afterwards and dancing in our early relationship. So it wouldn't be out of the wheelhouse that I was there, but it just happened to be because we were at a hotel.
Yeah.
Someone had to be with the baby, the girl, daughter. She wasn't a baby at the time. And I was the one that took the liberty to do what I wanted.
I just said this last night. We went to a Texas Rangers game, and there were a group of people sitting in front of us, and they started throwing peanuts at each other, and every once in a while it would bounce off their head and it would hit me and a buddy of mine that I was with, and he's in sobriety too, and he said, these guys are really getting on my nerves. And I'm like, I get it. I said, you know what? There's two people I don't like in the world. It's a sober person when I'm drunk and a drunk person when I'm sober. And that sounds kind of like what that was that night. It was like, even though he's your drinking buddy, he wasn't in the mood for it because he wasn't with you in that.
Well, I had to take care of the daughter and be sober for her.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, so I went to treatment and he stayed home with our daughter, and our daughter's name is Tesla, as he just said. So that was 30 days. And then after that, I didn't know what sober living was until I went into treatment. And that is part of the program, is they're talking to you about your aftercare when you're finished with your 30 days or whether you go for 60 days or 90 days.
Was this place an all ladies facility?
No.
Always co-ed? Okay.
Yeah.
Mine was too.
Yeah. And so they started to mention sober living, and I'm like, I don't know. But then they started to give statistics of 30-day program, your chances of relapse are the highest, right? You have I think they said 90% chance, maybe a 75% chance of relapsing. But the longer you stay in a program, your chances begin to decrease. And so I was like, all right, well, I'll do whatever it takes.
Kind of like what we were just talking about. You could be the one, you can be the 10%, not that 90%.
Right.
Yes. And so I had a conversation with him about that, and he was in agreement. And so going into sober living was that next step, and it's what I did. Actually, I think I went home. I don't remember actually if I went home out of treatment or straight to Austin. I think I went straight to
there.
Austin. Yeah. And so I stayed in a sober living program for about 40 days. We paid for 90 because I was going to truly be gone for 4 months, but 40 days was really all it took.
Was that another big decision when it comes to finances?
Yes.
Is that you pay day to day or week to week?
It is private pay.
Private pay.
And
Insurance didn't cover that, right?
It does not. It was monthly. We ended up, the program we went to, they required 3 months in advance. And so we were able to take care of that.
That's
so
good.
that was personal.
I did the same, but when I got out of the treatment center I went to in Florida, 2 weeks were paid. But the reason those 2 weeks were paid is because I had 2 weeks to find a job. And then it was self-pay.
Yeah.
But I could stay in that sober living place, and it was safe.
Yes.
Now, I can't say to everybody that I was with in those homes. You know, they were like these little houses in Lexington, South Carolina.
Mm-hmm.
It helped me because I was doing the work, but not everybody that I was around was doing the work.
Right.
So you have to still guard yourself.
That's where we talk about the head and the heart shift.
Mm-hmm.
Like I was doing the work. I was a stay-at-home mom at the time, so I didn't necessarily have to get a job, but that was part of the program, was getting a job. And so I did. I found a bakery and I went and made cake balls at 5 a.m. in the morning.
That's our chicken.
Yeah.
I have to start over somewhere.
It's a get well job is what they call it. It's not forever, but it was a beautiful thing to be able to do that. And to this day, I still order those cake balls for my daughter's birthday, and we've had a little tradition about it.
That's really cool.
And it's, it's a piece of our journey.
Yeah. Do you and your spouse need real connection on your recovery journey? Are you looking for resources to help you keep your marriage intact? The Recovery Vow Collective exists to support couples in recovery with tools, community, and live monthly support from myself and my team. Join us now at recoveryvow.com/collective. Well, you guys, you talked about your marriage, and that, let's say that's the lowest moment. What's been one of the highest moments in your marriage since you both have been in recovery? And I'm sure there's multiple, but maybe give me the first one, like a success or something that you guys celebrated together after you started walking in recovery together. Can you think of one?
Well, in a way, there's many, and that might be a surprise to you for me to say that, but it's not so much like a one moment that I remember. It has been this journey of growth, and luckily he has a story of sobriety as well, but together we kind of understand each other. We understand the struggle, and then our faith. We, like I said, I was raised in a church, but I was backsliding and didn't understand a relationship with God at that time in my life, and turned into anger because of, this is my lot in life. Like an alcoholic, why can't I just have one drink? Or two, why can't I be normal? And I believe if I were to overview it now, our faith walk together and separately is really a highlight for me of our relationship, because it's changed the way we communicate. It's changed the way our hearts are open to listen to who is communicating an upset, or I'm struggling with this because, or you said that and that hurt my feelings. Instead of constantly being defensive and butting heads, it becomes okay, we keep short offenses, and like, I don't want to go a day with an upset. And so I would say that would be a big highlight for me. We've had plenty of highlights, memories that we've built, and vacations that weren't drunk Danette or even Michael.
Do y'all still do the birthday vacations
Yes,
in different spots?
We do.
Good.
We do. But we're sober. We're usually in bed by 9 o'clock on vacations. Like, we're tired and we wake up early. But the highlight for me, I would just say, is that our faith has grown so much and God has really become the center, and he's working it out, the good and the bad. And we're more committed now than ever.
How about you, Mr. Michael? Anything that really jumps out these last 10 years?
Yeah, our arguments are not anywhere near the level of anger that they were during the years of practicing and active drinking. We have a very peaceful relationship, the three of us, and I have older kids, and just being raised in a house with yelling and fighting and stuff as a kid, we don't have that, and that's the best part for me. It's very peaceful. It's happy. It's loving. We're always telling each other we love each other. Our daughter says it, whenever we say hello and goodbye, and that's really the best for me.
What do you guys do together and individually that helps you maintain your sobriety today? Like, do you do meetings, or because I want to lead? I'm using this to lead into your book and how you're serving women. Mm-hmm. But is that the only thing that you have that you do that helps you? And Michael, what are you guys doing to stay sober?
Right. Well, it's changing your habits. It's changing your playground and your playmates, right? And so when I came out of treatment, that was another instruction that I took wholeheartedly. So it is finding a workout, getting to the gym and working out. I was overweight at the time because of all the alcohol, and I had no desire to do any kind of workout the next morning when you're hungover. My intentions were always good, but I didn't make it. I'd usually have to have a drink in the morning to kind of help the hangover. So getting to the gym, going to Bible studies was one, or even meetings. Yes, I was active in the beginning of my recovery journey at the 12-step AA meetings. And I did take a little bit of a pause in the middle there because I was focused on my faith and going to church, and didn't go into the AA meetings as much. But recently, the past year and a half, I've been back into going to meetings, and it's refreshing. I feel I could walk in a room like that, and I'm like, I could take a deep breath and feel normal. Yeah,
I can appreciate that. I did the meetings the first 3 years. The first year is because I'm a 1-year-old sober person. I started drinking when I was 13 years old. I didn't stop till I was 30. And so that first year, I didn't need a whole lot of curveballs. Well, my first curveball was I got divorced and I got custody of my 2 sons. And so at 9 months, not only do I have to keep myself alive, I'm responsible for 2 other people. That helped me maintain. But then going to these meetings, I really, really valued that. But then when I got invited to a church, now this podcast isn't meant to Jesus juke or anything like that. I'm just sharing my experience. But I got invited to church. I've been invited to churches before, but my questions were like, if they put their hands in the air, if they speak in any kind of tongue or foreign language, or if they bring a snake out, I'm not going to stay in there. You know what I mean? And none of that happened the first time. I remember crying when I went to this church, and now I work for this church, and I just celebrated 10 years on staff at this church. And it's become a place where I found my higher power. Yeah. And so, like, in the rooms in the beginning for people that were lost like me. Yes. And it still works for a lot of people. AA is great for a lot of people. It's a great resource. I'm not here to tear it down at all, but I truly believe that we have to understand that God is our higher power. God, as we understand him in the most simplest way possible. Our one-on-one relationship with him is my higher power. It couldn't have been my kids, and it couldn't have been a job, and it couldn't have been a meeting or doorknob or whatever. But they gave me the freedom to find that out. Now, in that, it was like the 12-step was a door, And then finding that relationship was how I got to walk through the door, but I didn't forget that the door was presented by them. So that's why I say I fully support AA. And just like you, I went on a cruise with my family over the summer, and I don't know why, but I looked up if there were meetings on the boat, and they had meetings on the boat. And I had been to a meeting like that in probably 5 or 6 years. And it was, like you just said, it was just refreshing to go and see a Michael or Danette that came and it just got together, out of 6,000 people and hung out on and just said, hey, I just want to make sure I knew another familiar face if I needed to. I didn't struggle or worry about a relapse, but just the refreshing part of connection.
Yes.
Does that make sense?
Yes.
So I just wanted to relate to you in that conversation.
It's to a God of your understanding. And it is the relation part is when you hear other people's stories of struggles or even triumphs that they've gone through the devotion or message that is read in the room, and people share about what it means to them. There's so much relating. And that is where you're just like, okay, I'm not the only one. Mm-hmm. I'm not the only one that feels that way or went through that or struggling with right now. Like, it is okay.
Yeah. It's important for people to see that.
Yeah. People have such a fear about going into an AA room.
Or just being defined as an addiction. Like,
yes.
Me, you and Michael went to lunch and we sat at a table over there at Capitol Grill.
Yeah.
They're not going to say, oh, there's a bunch of people in recovery.
There's the sober people.
Yeah, there's a couple of, a few addicts over there. Because people just define us as like these broken brown baggers. That
Low life.
Yeah, and it's not that. It's entrepreneurs. It's moms and business owners. And it's podcasters, it's all of us. And so that's what I really like about bringing this new light of what recovery looks like to people and giving this kind of platform to talk about it.
Yes, thank you. It's a movement, and it needs to be a movement.
Yeah.
It needs to be spoken about.
Especially in marriages, like marriages are failing because of it. And luckily you guys are both supporting each other because you're in recovery, but there's oftentimes where it's one that the reason I broke marriage after addiction is because, my first wife, she's a good friend now, but there was nothing for her to go through or use. Now in the big book, there's the chapter that's to the wives, and then there's these Al-Anon meetings. She's not going to that. And that's like we talked about a minute ago with gyms and churches. Those are the only two avenues that they really have outside of signing up and paying to go through counseling. Well, now we can work together, and this is a legacy. This isn't about me. I don't care about the light being on me. I care about what God's given me that I can leave behind one day that will help people when I'm not here. And that's what this is going to do, hopefully, because it'll give the supporting spouse something to just lean into as they walk with their spouse through recovery, because now you're both in recovery together.
It's another avenue to connect, because as a couple, obviously we connected immediately when we first met on different conversations, different relations. But now that you're going through a trial, it's a way to connect through your book. I mean, I had not heard of anything like this until you brought it to my attention, until we were introduced. And so it's so needed. Yeah, I appreciate that. Yeah.
And I'll pay you later for your commercial. All right, so let me commercialize you a little bit. Kingdom Rehab Her is your book.
Yes.
Now you got on a tool belt here and a Bible in your hand.
Yes, and the AA book.
And your AA book. Oh, yeah, seated over there now, right behind the torpedo level. So I was reading through your book and thank you for signing it.
Sure.
But let's see, where did it go? I wanted to read from chapter 4. Here it is. This stuck out to me, and I was hoping it could just bring up some conversation. Because the reason you named this Rehabber, you've done some remodel work because you were in real estate, correct?
I still am. I flip and remodel houses as a little passion side project, but it's become now a bigger thing. I've joined a network of women in real estate investing. And so I coach women every week on flipping and remodeling to help battle the fear of going into a man's world. Real estate investing is 97% men. And it's same with working with general contractors or even thinking about demoing and remodeling things I'm my own GC right now.
You can pull permits and do all the work and everything. I'm proud of you for that.
I love tools. I love being Miss Fix-It. I don't lay tile. Like, I don't do the plumbing. I don't do the electrical.
You
I hire the professionals
but
for
you
that.
know the
I'm
codes and all the
managing
things.
the show is really what I say. So
That's what I do from the church I work for. I'm in operations. I oversee all of our projects.
Yes.
I
So
have
it
a
is.
small business doing the exact same thing, but
Yes,
not
it's
as
like an event
detailed.
planning thing is what I kind of compare it to for women, is like planning a wedding. You've got to start here and then it builds and then there's the event and you're done.
Yeah.
So that book does tie in my story of sobriety and then remodeling homes. The Lord really showed me one day when I was remodeling a home the parallels of making a home healthy again and remodeling and redoing plumbing, redoing electrical, redoing the floors, your foundation. And then with your home, with your body, their health. If your feet hurt, that's your foundation. Everything hurts. Nothing is in alignment. Yep. And so the parallels are really fascinating in a way. The book was completely not my own, but the ideas were just inspired by the Lord. And I went with it and followed his calling to say, this is a book for you.
Yeah. Well, I've enjoyed reading through it. I'm going to read a section from chapter 4, Get the Dumpster. So I don't know if this will spark a memory, but I just wanted to read this paragraph and then you kind of tell me what it means. Demolition work is about getting rid of the rotten and old materials. You must tear down the old stuff to rebuild the new. That applies to rehabbing a home and recovery work, just like what you were just saying. Mm-hmm. The goal is to get to a place that is clear and free of debris. In other words, a clean slate. The place where you can do the repairs and begin to rebuild. So when you wrote that and you think through the people you're helping and who you're serving, are you trying to reach them at a point to where they're just making the decision to walk through their recovery? Or are you trying to reach them while they're in treatment, or your hope is to reach them because they come through because you now have a sober living facility, right? Mm-hmm. When are you finding the people that you're serving, and how do you apply that kind of what I just read to with the work they're doing?
So where I relate to that is it's a dispelling the lies kind of moment where I was raised in a church, like I said, and that church is still active, I believe, today. And it's all well and good what they teach. What I heard and what I interpreted as a teenager was different than what I believe was shared. So no harm, no foul on them, but I didn't know what a relationship with God was. It was more of a condemning God, a shake your finger at, you're sinning, you're wrong, no grace. And
like religion versus spirituality.
Yes. And so that's why I fled the church at 18 and was like, I can't be perfect. I'm out. And so when I talk about the foundation or clean slate, that applies here because those are just old lies that I continued into my 40s. And so clean slate, starting fresh, when you do a remodel project, you kind of have to get into the nitty gritty to find out what's really there. You can't just put lipstick on a pig. You've got to really get in to make sure there's no mold in the walls, make sure the electrical wiring is working or aligned right, or rewire completely if it's old wiring. And so it is, it's how our bodies work too. It's the patterns that we create. If we have trauma in our life, we're sometimes reacting or responding in a trauma response. And so it is really tearing down to build back up in a healthy way.
Tell me about this facility that you have now.
I actually just opened the second sober living house. It is a sober living home for women. I'm basically modeling what I went through, and it is a shared living facility. I like to call it sacred because it's a space where you walk in and you really connect to another woman because you're in the same life cycle, or you probably just came out of treatment, or maybe you've been in another sober living before and you had a relapse. But it's an environment that is alcohol and drug free. It is high accountability. I do UA tests weekly and breathalyzers every night. It is a life skill atmosphere where when I was drinking and in my height of addiction, responsibility wasn't important to me. Yes, taking care of my daughter and what do they call it? A functioning alcoholic, where I'd be able to function through the day. But my mindset was always on, when am I getting my next drink? Where am I going? Can I get the next drink there? And so paying a bill wasn't really priority at the time, although I would do some automated bills, and that was great. But it's life cycle. It's life skills. I'm sorry. Going to the gym instead of happy hour, going to a meeting instead of a lunch with moms and have wine during that lunch. It's changing those habits, and then new friends, because you usually can't hang out with the same people. Even if that's family members, it's very hard.
It's very
for
hard.
A period of time. That's not a forever thing, but it's a period of time until you grow in strength and you reset your foundation a little bit. You get into some therapies, you get into some meetings, you get into, just support systems. So this home is a support system. We actually just had a house meeting last night. And that makes me emotional too, because it was beautiful. I now have 10 women in the home. I have 2 homes, so there's 10 together. And my birthday is actually this week. And so they had a cake for me and sang happy birthday. Another girl there, her birthday is this week too. So it's just building a community of happy people that are free from this toxic life, or, they're going through it right now.
Yeah.
I'm 10 years ahead. And so it is, it's a beautiful thing to be able to offer condolences, offer support, offer no condemning, right? Like I've been there, done that. We laugh a lot, and we all get to be goofballs that accept each other in the ugly and in the good. Everybody's looking for a job, a get well job, or if they were able to keep their career, they're, back to work. And then the age range, like it's from, I had a 24 all the way to 61. So
Really?
It's just everybody really bonds through this addiction piece, and it's just become a beautiful thing.
I think it's fantastic, and they celebrate you because they look up to you, and you're giving them the tools to make good decisions. Even later, like I'm 15 years in recovery, well, I still have to make changes even today. That's tough to the degree where maybe it is family that I don't not cut off, but limit, or people that I feel aren't beneficial. Because as we grow,
yes,
sometimes we're going to outpace other people.
Yes.
They won't be as supportive or care as much as they used to. And I don't think that makes them narcissist. I just think that we are just outpacing them, and so then new people come in our lives that we just have to say, "Oh, you're a new person."
Yeah.
For a time being. What I mean by that is not everybody's going to celebrate everything that we do or everything that we accomplish or all the great things that happen.
Right.
So we have to surround ourselves with that small group of people that continuously do support us, that will cheer us on. But you're able to do that because these women, I assume, are just trying to grip that with someone because they've lost it with everyone. And so that's why they're making you cakes and celebrating. And they're so loving and honorable of what you're doing. Now, are your facilities, we can put a link in the bio and all that for your facilities to kind of highlight that. Are they in the, what did you call it earlier? And then are they in the Dallas proper area? Okay.
No, one is in a suburb of Dallas in Richardson, and then the other one is Dallas proper.
Okay.
So I love, though, that you just did this, because I've been doing that, I guess all through my treatment, because even when you're talking about recovery vow in a marriage, when someone starts to get sober, their mind is changing. They're getting healthy in their mental state. And so they start to rise up. And if the spouse, or in any relationship, right, it could be mother-daughter, if that other person doesn't start to rise up, that you kind of outgrow. And I don't mean outgrow as in better than, but it's a mental state that changes. Behaviors that change, what you're willing to accept in treatment changes. Like, this person can't treat this person ill anymore because they're going to be like no longer manipulating the relationship to get their next drink. And that's what I used to do, is I would manipulate just so I could, have another day of drinking, and then suffer the consequences the next day. But you have to get back on that level, healthy playing field.
No, I agree with you. And it gets to a point to where you've figured out who you are.
Yeah.
And anybody that you have conversation with or that you allow to be a part of your life, if they make you act different or talk different or think different than how you've learned to be, they're probably not good for you unless it's in a leadership where they're taking you to the next level. I don't know why I keep talking with my hands.
No, that's what I was like laughing at, because I do this little thing too. And that I think was done for me in treatment as well. And that goes not just in a marriage, but like in all the relationships that you have. If one is toxic and not healthy or oppressive, you can't stay there.
Yeah.
You have to go temporarily, and hope that other person will rise to the top with you. And that's where your support system comes in, and surrounding yourself by people that cheer you on and celebrate the wins and love on you when you're not at your best.
So if people want to connect with you, they can, what's the best way to do that?
So there's all the social medias, Instagram, Facebook are my two favorites. I haven't branched out into all these other apps. I do have a website for the book, kingdomrehabher.com. And the sober living home is a play on words again, since I rehab houses and I've been to rehab her, my girl. So that is the play on words. So Rehab Her Recovery House is the sober living homes that I'm building.
Love that. And Mr. Michael, any last and final thoughts for our guys that might be listening as a supporting husband? Because, you're in recovery, but, it's usually the guys that deal with it. But if you were talking to a guy that's trying to understand how to support his wife and get her into a life of recovery, is there a word that you would say or a phrase that you would, just a word of encouragement that you would give them as we kind of wrap up?
Yeah. Wow. Patience. It's a tough road. But to get to the other side of the addiction is so incredible, especially if you've lived through the tough parts. It just makes things really that much better, right? When you're living a life of sobriety together and as a family, and you've both been down the dark roads.
Yeah.
There's hope, there's light, there's ways to heal, and it's all out there for you, but you got to do the work.
Yeah.
And so we did the work, and now we're
reaping the benefits.
Reaping the benefits, right?
It's amazing.
I think there's a country song, and it might be George Strait, but you get your house back, you get your wife back, you get your job back, right? I don't remember all of it, but
it's the country song in reverse.
Right.
Yeah.
That's right.
So it's pretty funny to think that you do get your wife back, you get your husband back if it's the wife dealing with it, right? And
you become that mom that you always wanted to be. You're that dad you always needed to be.
Yes, sir.
So that's really, really good. I want to say before we close that I am so honored and proud of you and for having you here. And Michael, I'm so proud of you too.
Thank you.
I must have missed it that both of you were in recovery, and I apologize for that, but I'm very proud of both of you for being 10 years into your marriage in recovery together.
Mm-hmm. Thank you.
Thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you for having
the
us.
Recovery Vow Podcast. I truly appreciate it.
Yes.
Thank you.